I have one thing here. This is a card from, a thank you card from Linton Stockton High School. It says, "Thank you for donating to Teachers Warehouse. Your donation helps us so that we have fun and being able to be comfortable with our work." And it's signed Trinity Barton. So all of you who donated to Teachers Warehouse, thank you. And now I'm turning the meeting over to our president-elect, Mr. Bailey. Maybe I'll.
Had never done anything, and with the fish fry, had never attended. They weren't familiar with it, so I thought, well, maybe now's the time to bring it up, and we ought to do this every year probably. Because we hope we get new members every year, right?
Yeah.
So we have been doing this, I'm gonna say in the 70s is when they started it. I know they were doing it early 80s. And I don't know if anybody here has a date or anything.
No, I don't have a date, but probably early 80s.
That's,
Dan Schaefer was our biggest salesman. And
yes.
So we, that's
Which
why we
is-
named it the Dan Schaefer Fish Fry.
and I think it's appropriate too that we use Dan's fish fry. You know, yeah, that makes sense. We following the Dan rule. We have been getting our tables and chairs from the Lions Club, and we give them $100 donation for that, but that's real helpful. We don't have to buy them or do anything like that, so that helps us a lot. And those are usually delivered about 1 o'clock on that Friday, and we always need help getting them unloaded and set up. So put that on your calendar for that Friday. It's been one of our biggest fundraisers. Now I'm hoping that maybe this last event was maybe gonna, it's always nice to beat something else, you know, when money's involved. So Dan's fries the fish and the chicken, and then we supply the coleslaw, potato salad, baked beans. We all bring a dessert and the drinks, and that's all furnished. This year we did raise the price to 15. I don't think that'll keep anyone. I mean, I don't think there's any restaurant you can go to and get all you can eat plus drink plus dessert. So I think we're okay on that, but I felt we really needed to, and I appreciate your agreeing with that because everything's gone up, and it'll probably go up more even by the time we get there. So Dan's will tell us how many portions of the things that they do. And we have, if somebody asked for, I would ask that we stick with it. If they say 2 pieces of fish and 1 chicken, stick with it that time. If somebody says, you know, put a couple more on there, that doesn't happen often that first time through, but it's, you know, if you're asking for too much, just ask them if they can come back, you know, tell them it'll get cold if it's sitting on the plate. They're better off to get hot, fresh, you know, whatever.
We'll be around.
Yeah, because we're gonna be there. So yeah, because that's how we are somewhat charged, you know, and they keep track of how much we've compared. I will tell you that the Lions did their pancake breakfast fee a few weeks ago, and it was the first time they'd been able to do it as a, you know, face to face, and they set a record. They took in over $14,000.
Wow.
So with that, and I've heard people talking about it, and I think we've got signs, so it's probably getting close to time to put out the signs. So brings our attention to it. And I know that there are committees, and you've gotten a committee together that you're going to have for silent auction things and publicity, get things on the marquees if you can. I don't know who's doing what. I just sort of take care of the food, and that's all I really need to do. But we need your help. We need everybody to make a dessert or 2, or, you know, whatever that they can bring, something that weathers well, since the weather's hot. It doesn't, you know, like things that have whipped cream in them or Cool Whip or something that's gonna, they won't look very appealing. They may still taste good, but they're not gonna look very appealing. So just keep that in mind. But we will all help serve. We will have somebody that will go around periodically to see if they need more things. So that's sort of how it works.
So you spoke about marketing. I made an event on our Facebook page. And what I would hope is not that just you like it, but that you also share it. It's really important that you share it and say something, like put a comment on there. Hope to see all my friends at this, you know, awesome event or something like that. Yes, come around for some best fish and chicken. I've been making sure I put chicken on there too, because
Yes.
some people don't like fish.
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because there are people saying, I really don't like fish. Or,
Yeah.
Well, we got chicken too.
Yeah.
So,
And it's good too.
yes,
So please share it. Everybody go home and. join
good.
the Facebook page.
Glad you did that.
Are we doing desserts already on little plates, or are you just gonna bring them in and have somebody?
It sort of depend on what, actually, usually, like I made cobbler last year that they said was a big hit. That's hard to bring
Right.
on
It's-
things.
It's easier in general to bring it in and whatever.
Right, and let whomever there, when they've got
Dish it
time,
out.
and they dish some out ahead of time. Space becomes a little bit of an issue. And if you get too much out, it looks like you're not.
Do we have a lot of plates and?
I've got,
everything?
I'll have to look. I think we made, last year it's funny because Susan said, how come you didn't spend as much as you did last year? We didn't have to buy any paper products this last year. So we may have to. I don't know what the inventory, I think you did it. I think I've got it at home. So I haven't checked that yet, but
Get a copy for you.
I have it, I'm sure. If you did it, I've got it, but I just didn't think to look for it before I came. So anybody have any questions? And
I just wanted to point out that we are now invoicing you. All should have received one because I mailed them all out. Because I can mail them to you, but you have to tell your email not to reject that DB's email. So, you know, we'll give it a try, and maybe I'll send something out to see if everybody gets something. Did you notice the ones that have it gives you it actually takes it's not called the attendance module anymore, but it's the same thing. We still take attendance, but it puts the attendance on the days that you attended and multiplies it times 10, and that's what your bill is. You know. The other thing is we are going to have dues increase because Rotary International is raising their dues. The people who have paid for the whole calendar year will not be rebilled for the last 6 months, and we'll just wait till next calendar year. So they're going to increase it $1 and then $3.50 and something. So anyway, you won't notice it. So that's, any questions about the new invoicing?
How much is the increase? Just out of curiosity.
Okay, it's going to increase $1, and then it's going to increase $3.50
So not-
for each. Yeah, it's still cheaper than cable to have
Right.
Rotary for the whole year.
Yeah.
That's my motto.
Cheaper than cable. Everything's cheaper than.
Cable for a month.
Which will be next year's logo. I had the opportunity when I was at Pets one of the speakers was Jennifer Jones, who's the incoming president, be the first female president. And if you'll look at it, she talked about what this was. So she commissioned a artist in Australia to do this, and it has to do with the Aborigines on this. And if I remember it, she said she wanted it to have a family feel with it, that the circle represents the elders sitting and conversing with each other. The little dots around that circle are representative of when they would get up from sitting on the ground, they would leave the spots where they were sitting. The green, actually the 7 dots also represent the 7 focus points. The green line represents the digging stick to represent we need to dig in and work. The digging stick, if you're not familiar, could be lots of things. Their walking stick, it was their digging stick, it was their fighting stick, it was just part of their culture. And then the colors were colors of the women's movement, and the nod to the first woman president is why she chose the color scheme that she chose. So that's what that represents. I'm sure there'll be more on that, but she was very engaging and had a lot of good things to say. So today, in just a little short period of time, I just kind of wanted to talk about where we're going. I don't know if this story is true, but I use it nonetheless because it helps you to envision my point. I've looked it up and I've seen parts where they said it's possibly this way, but then others say maybe it's not. But nonetheless, do we know why railroad tracks are the width that they are?
That's what the stagecoach
So
wheels were set apart.
same width as the stagecoach. So it's that philosophy of why did we do it that way? Because we've always done it that way. So every meeting that I've been to at Pets and talking with Lance, Everly, we have this great opportunity for a reset. COVID has given everybody a reset to evaluate where you are, what you're doing, does it make sense? And so what I'm asking is that we absolutely do this. I still feel like I'm fairly new. Some of you have been here a long, long time. I've been here 2 years. I don't want to come in and upset anybody, but I think we have an opportunity to look at every single solitary thing we do. And when I say look at it, I'm not saying change it. I'm saying look at it. Does where we meet make sense? Does what time we do it make sense? Does the programming that we do make sense? Does the programs and the service projects we do, why are we doing them? Do they still make sense? Do they still economical to do? Or are there other opportunities? You know, I don't want to necessarily take something away and not replace it, but I think we have to take a look at what we're doing. So over the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, I have met individually with those that are not here. Those that are still paying, but aren't showing up. And there's this running thread with all of them that the Thursday meeting is just not that important to them. They still want to be a part of service projects and still be a part of participating and giving back to the community. But the 12 to 1 on Thursdays every week can be a bit of a challenge for them. I don't know that that means that we get rid of it, but I think it makes sense to start thinking about how can we do it differently. You know, with this coming year, we'll no longer take attendance. It's based on engagement. Are you engaged in Rotary? I mean, everybody here, if we went around the room and asked why you're a part of Rotary, we're going to get 15 different answers. But by and large, I think the answer that probably weaves through everybody is because you have a heart for service. You want to give back something. I mean, it started as a, you know, old guys way to network and come and have lunch. And for some, it may still be that. And if that's all you want to give, that's fine. That's you do Rotary the way you do Rotary. But I think it's not hard for any of us here sitting here right now to look around and say, if nothing changes, this group's going to dwindle away. You're going to eventually everybody's going to die off and nobody's going to be there to replace them. And you know, the younger folks, which I looked at the numbers for us, for the district, for the zones, they're all running, the percentages are running about the same. When you look at the 29 and under crowd, they're just not that many. Why? Why is that? Statistically, 50% of everybody that joins will leave in the first 2 years. I think we see that here. You know, why, but that, so that tells me a story. Why is that? Are we not engaging them? Are we not providing opportunities for them? Are we not creating things? So we're already on top of some things. You know, we have the committee that we were talking about engagement, and although we've only met once in person, I've sent some emails and we've had small discussions. We're going to have more discussions because we need to have that system that when we bring somebody in, there's a process. Here's how you're going to learn about Rotary. Here's how we're going to learn about you. And here's where do you want to jump in at? So some of the ideas that were thrown out at the meeting and that I think are some things that we maybe need to take a look at is the Thursday meeting. So one of the things that was thrown out was that it changes each week. So one day of the month, they do a speaker and they have lunch. One Thursday of the month may be committee meetings. Another Thursday of the month may be an assembly. Another Thursday of the month might be a service project, or maybe they move it from Thursday and have a service project on Saturday, or maybe one Thursday might be a after hours get together. It just is no limit to what we can do with it. We just need, I don't want to be a one-man band making those decisions, nor do you want me to be. I want everybody's input on it, and realize that some of you aren't going to get your way. I'm not going to get my way, but we've got to be willing to go with the flow of how we're developing what we're going to become. Being able to be more proactive in creating news as opposed to just reporting it. We want to be able to have activities that we have the news people coming to us, that we're making an impact. So that means partnering. What organizations can we partner with? I've already got an idea that I want to investigate more that has to do with doing something with, and this started because on the school board, we were talking about what we've done in the past for our retiring teachers. And it's not been a lot. You know, we have a little reception, a little cake, we give them a glass apple. I mean, that's, some of these people have been 40 and 50 years in education. We need to do a little bit more. So can we partner with them, maybe to do something more with a banquet and maybe have a teacher of the year? And what would the criteria look like? And how would we choose that? And what could we do? But I think that's one of the ideas that I'd like to kind of look at for this next coming year. But what can we do with the chamber? What can we do with the Parks Department? What can we do with, you know, Becky's Place and Bertha's Mission? I mean, all these other organizations, what can we do with the Lions Club? How can we partner together to provide more opportunity for Bedford? I mean, that's really what we're talking about. Interact. One of the people that I talked with had a passion about that. They really wanted, said, you know, we've talked about it, nothing ever got done. If I do anything over the next year, what I hope is that we stop talking about it and we get it done, so that everybody's got a piece. So maybe all you want to do is come to a committee and be an idea person, and there's going to be other people that don't really want to come to the meeting, but they're more than willing to show up and sling fish and, you know, take books and, you know, whatever. So that's, we need all kinds of people. The younger ones especially, they're not going to come to meetings. They're just not. They don't have time. They don't have the inclination. They may come to a meeting if they found it of value. And I actually had one of the people I met with, that's one of the things they said. It just became not important. That when other things came up, hey, can you go to lunch on Thursday afternoon? Can you do this? All of a sudden that became more important than coming to Rotary. I did get them committed to come, and they have been, but that shouldn't happen, you know. And I assume, Ray, I don't know who's the oldest member here? Have you been here the longest? You've been here the longest. Has it gone up and down? I mean, what's the maximum amount of people that you've ever had that would come to a meeting consistently?
Probably 36.
Okay. Interesting. If I ask the question, Donna can't answer this question. The Lions Club meets twice a month for a dinner. How many people do you think show up to that meeting? Thoughts?
I thought a lot.
It's a big meeting.
One time.
I would have thought it was a big meeting until I talked to a former president of the Lions Club, and they said, yeah, we get about 15 to 18. I said, well, that's what we get.
Didn't change.
You know, maybe there's times when it's a few more, but after I went through the pancake thing and I saw all these people, young people, that's what threw me. You know, I see Zared Myers standing there, and I see David George's daughter there, and I see all these younger people, you know, David Pace is there. You know, I don't want them to drop Lions to come over here, but there are other people in the community. So what are we doing to be able to bring them in? So, you know, there's a lot of people in the world that believe in the concept called law of attraction. You may or may not know what that means. I don't buy into the voodoo of law of attraction, but here's what I do buy into. A few years ago, I bought a vehicle. Had never seen this vehicle before. But all of a sudden, I owned one, and I started seeing that thing everywhere. Everybody had the same kind of car I had. Not only the same car, it was the same color. Was it there before? It was absolutely there before. But our mind will not allow us to see everything that goes on all day long. It focuses on things. So when I bought that car, my mind started focusing on seeing that car every place. I think that's a truth. That if we would focus a little bit of our energy on recruiting new people, we'd probably see a huge influx. if we all made a list of people that we want to see here to be a part of our organization, I promise you opportunities will open up to be able to see that. Was it there? And they're probably there all along. We just weren't open to it, to see it. Whenever I've done this, whenever I've made it a mission to think about it, you know, pray about it, focus on it. It's amazing how many things open up and opportunities are placed before me to be able to be in a position to talk to this person, be in a position to share something with them or bring them or invite them. So that's one of the things I think that we have to do is, you know, yes, I know that there are going to be some that are going to show up on Thursdays, have their lunch, go home and never think about Rotary again. But for the bulk of us, that can't happen. We've got to be engaged with Rotary. And I'm not talking about 24/7, 365 days a year. I'm just saying more than we are. Give to whatever level you can give. But if we get more people, then there's going to be less to do for everybody. So we need to have some discussions about how we handle the age gap. We need to have discussions about more about recruiting. We need to have more discussion about engagement and what we do there, creating the news and not just reporting it. All of these things are things that I want to have discussions about. I don't want to come in and dump it all out and say, we're going to do it my way. Over the next year, I just want to engage, have discussions, have follow through. If we have a committee, so like right now we have a fish fry committee. Donna does enough with the food. Stay away, let her do her thing with the food, and we'll do anything that has to be done with the food. But all the other stuff, the committee needs to do it. And then after, you know, knowing who's doing what and staying in our lane with each thing is really important too. So that's just kind of what I wanted to talk about. I want you to start thinking about where we are, where you want us to be, what kind of things we can change, what kind of things you don't want to change. You know, if the group decides, you know what, we like the Thursday meeting, 12 to 1 and have lunch, great. We just have to be aware that there's going to be a portion of us, of people that aren't ever going to be part of that. So how do we make sure that we're involving them so that they don't just walk away saying it's not worth it because all they do is meet and have lunch and go home? If that's all we're going to do, then I can't tell you that I really want to be here. You know, I can eat anywhere. You know, I like everybody. And I have told several people, I've been involved in Exchange. I've been involved in JCs. I've been involved in lots of organizations. I really have enjoyed my short period of time at Rotary. I really think that it's a good organization, a bunch of good people have a lot of good mission. We just need to make sure that we're doing even more and maybe not as big. And that's been the other thing that went through is people want to do stuff. They just don't want to do these massive, you know, projects that take so much time, energy, and effort. What kind of smaller things can we do that maybe don't take as much time? So thinking about that, and then as we go along, you know, make this changeover, and I'll try not to upset anybody along the way. So we need a public relations committee, and that committee may be 2 people, and that's fine. But it's having that 2 people that we know those 2 people are the ones that are going to get stuff on Facebook. They're going to be the ones that send stuff to the paper. They're going to be the ones that are getting stuff on the marquees that are, you know, so that not everybody has to worry about it. Because right now I felt like, and I may be very wrong, but I've just felt like that there's a lot of people that are willing to do things, but we never really know who's doing what. And then stuff gets done because we're really good about showing up and getting things done. But I think last year at the fish fry, there was some concern. Who was going to be there to set up tables? Who was going to be there to take care of this? Who was going to be there to take care of that? And everybody came out. And I've had a lot of people say, yeah, I'm not there on Thursdays, but I'm Johnny on the spot. You need physical labor done, I'll be there. Great. We just need a little more communication to know who's doing what.
Wanted it, but so did everybody else has something for it, so we didn't have to.
So the point is be prepared. If you haven't done anything over the last year, that's going to change in some way. I mean, I don't want to, you know, there's going to be people that won't want to do everything, but do something. Find something that you're passionate about, and let's do that. If you bring something, I always tell people, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I try to surround myself with smart people. If you bring me a problem, bring me a solution. Don't make me come up. I'm not the answer man. I mean, I can come up with a solution, but it may not be right. You know what the problem is, and you recognize the problem. Bring a solution with you when you come, and let's talk about how we can now institute that. I think that's a good way to go. So, okay, I'm taking up enough of my time.
You can go ahead and close the meeting for practice.
Did anybody not get tickets last week? Or if you did, or if you got flyers, you need to flyers.
All right, so we'll close the meeting with the things that we. What?
Think, say, and do it's
Think, say, and
true.
do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And is it fun?